Time to wake up. It's Saturday morning. Find some milk and cereal. Grab a bowl and spoon. No, a bigger spoon. Head to the living room and take a seat on the floor while Joseph and Chris present to you Saturday Morning Cartoon!
Hello everybody, welcome to Saturday Morning Cartoon Boom! This is a show where we wake up with the Saturday morning sun, pop on the floor with a big bowl of sugary cereal, and watch all your favorite cartoons, both old and new. I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris.
And this morning, we watched Klaus. This was suggested by
you. You're just like, hey, we're going to do that.
I saw it almost like right when Netflix released it because I was curious about it. Just the animation style alone had me kind of drawn into it. So I was like, I want to watch this, see how it is. And I don't usually keep much hope for holiday cartoons. There hasn't been any recently that have really stood out to me to the point where I'm like, oh gosh, this needs to be a regular thing, until this thing came around. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I have to show you this. We have to review this. And it needs to be in the holiday season, at least somewhere near it. I know when you're hearing this, it's going to be on Saturday the 28th or something. I don't know.
Probably. Yeah.
I've lost track of days.
Let's go with that.
But it's post-Christmas, so I hope everyone had a happy holiday and whatever way you celebrate it. And the movie Klaus aired in 2019, written by Sergio Pablos, Jim Mahoney, and Zach Lewis, directed by Sergio Pablos, produced by Sergio Pablos Animation Studios, which is also known as SPA Studios.
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah. Atres Media Cine and Anaventure. This was a Netflix original. It was created or started being created a couple years back, and it seemed like it was too big a risk for people to, or for other studios to bring aboard, and no one wanted to produce it. And then Netflix grabbed hold of it. And I'm so glad they did, because man, they really hit a gold mine here.
Yeah. And they needed it too, because with things like Disney Plus and stuff coming out, they've lost so many subscribers to Netflix. But lately, with the stuff that they're putting out, they're kind of just killing it, honestly. They're doing a great job, putting out some really, really high quality stuff and original shows and movies and stuff like that. So I hope that this keeps up, because, yeah, this was definitely a great film. And I'm glad that Netflix took that perceived risk and put it out, because it was awesome, and I hope they keep doing stuff like this.
Absolutely. Whether it's holiday movies or just movies in general, this animation style, I'm hoping they stick with that too, or at least SPA Studios does.
Oh,
and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But for a short synopsis of this movie, a simple act of kindness always sparks another, even in a frozen, faraway place. When Smearensburg new postman Jesper befriends toymaker Klaus, their gifts melt an age-old feud and deliver a sleigh full of holiday traditions. Now, that is an official synopsis from Netflix. That's why it's so,
I was gonna say,
so
okay,
much like the back of a movie box or something.
There's no way that someone logged on to IMDb and just submitted that randomly. That was way too specific, using quotes and things from the movie. So
it's way too hallmarky for just a random Kenneth Chisholm kind of
the Kenneth Chisholm
synopsis.
program did not write this one, for sure.
Yeah, the Kenneth Chisholm AI did not write this. So who are some of the actors who played in this movie?
So the character of Jesper was voiced by Jason Schwartzman, who is I'm just going to throw this out there real quick. Most of these people are not known for animation or voiceover stuff. Some of them have done quite a bit of it, but it's not why people know them for the most part. So Jason Schwartzman, known more for things like Bored to Death, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, Wet Hot American Summer, Mozart in the Jungle, and Fargo. The show, not the movie. The voice of Alvin! The voice of Alva was provided by Rashida Jones. Again, another person, known a lot more for her physical performances in things like Boston Public, The Office, and my personal favorite, Parks and Recreation. Voice of Klaus was provided by J.K. Simmons, known for his acting roles in Oz, in Spider-Man as J. Jonah Jameson, in the original trilogy, and, spoiler alert, for those that, are really behind the times and haven't seen the last Spider-Man movie that's been out for a long time now, he was in there too. He also actually voices J. Jonah Jameson in a lot of Marvel cartoons, which is also really cool. He's also done some voice work for The Legend of Korra and as the yellow M&M on M&M commercials for several years.
Well, wait, he's always been the yellow M&M?
For a long time, yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yep, he's the yellow M&M, the one with the shape that looks like my head. So we're both very oval. Mogan's was voiced by Norm Macdonald, who's I love Norm Macdonald's voice. His is one of my favorite voices I ever hear in anything. It just makes me laugh just hearing it because it's so distinct. Norm Macdonald, known for Saturday Night Live, his own show called Norm, and then he actually does some voiceover work in Skylanders Academy and the Mike Tyson Mysteries, and you can see him in the Orville. I've never seen that show.
I've never seen it either, but we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that he was also in one of our longtime favorites, The Adventures of Panda Warrior.
Oh, God. I was hoping that would have just died after the Spoonies, but thank you
No.
for carrying this tainted animation into the new year. So, yes.
Well, the year's not over yet, so I had to keep it alive.
What's funny, too, is like if you take his performance from that movie, The Adventures of Panda Warrior, and this, like, I mean, we guessed that when we watched that other movie that he hated being there and didn't want to do it. And judging from his performance here, you can definitely tell that was the case.
Oh, it is night and day. Like when I heard it, I was like, is that Norm Macdonald, the same Norm Macdonald who did Adventures of Panda Warrior? And his voice, like you can tell like he cares about this part. Like he is actually putting effort into it, unlike the phone in that he did with the other one.
Yeah, this is his voice without the filter of regret. The voice of Mrs. Crumb was provided by Joan Cusack, sister to John Cusack. She is known for Saturday Night Live. She Shameless, a series of unfortunate events, and voicing the character of Jessie from the Toy Story series. And I can say I've never seen any of those movies except the first Toy Story. And I kind of like that I haven't. I don't know why. It's a weird point of pride with me. I've only seen the first Toy Story.
You've only seen the first Toy Story? Oh, man.
Yep. That's it. It's the only one.
The only one I haven't seen is the latest one, but the first three, I believe, were really good.
I don't know. Why would I? But if Sid's only in the first one, why would I want to see the other ones? You know?
Oh, man. You won't know until you check them out. I feel like there's no reason why we wouldn't be able to watch them for Cartoon Boom, so maybe we'll just have to bring them in someday.
Oh, we'll get to those someday, for sure. Anything animated's on the table, guys. And then finally, Mr. Ellingbo, voiced by Will Sasso, known for his appearances in Less Than Perfect, Mad TV, where he was there for a very long time, and unfortunately, the reboot of The Three Stooges, which was never a good idea, and you guys should never have done it. And they're working on a sequel now, so great.
Is it another reboot, or is it a sequel to the reboot?
It's a sequel to the reboot.
Oh.
That was really bad.
But did it do well finationally? Because that's the reason why they would still...
It didn't.
So there's no reason for this reboot.
There's no reason for this. There's no reason at all, other than he needs work. So,
well, he did great in this.
He did do great
more
in
voiceover
this.
work.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, everyone should just do more voiceover work. Let's get more animated like movies and shows instead of rebooting, things that have no business being rebooted because the originals are totally fine.
How about give actors less VO work and give us any VO work?
Yeah, give us work. You all get out of here. We'll take
Adventures of Panda Warrior 2.
Yeah.
Just putting it out there. I am available for whatever you want.
Yeah. You know what? I would even be, I would be down to be in a terrible movie like that. So if you've got a really awful movie, let us know. If you've got parts for us, we'll do it.
Please cast us in it. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, we'll put that out there now.
So here's a few tasty marshmallows that are a big bowl of Klaus cereal. Director Sergio Pablos had wanted to do a traditionally animated feature film, but he wanted to see how the animation would have evolved without the switch to computer-generated animation. So the studio used CGI lighting techniques with hand-drawn animation to create a unique animation style for the story. So all of it all of it's 2D, but it's lit in such a way, in a volumetric way, that makes it kind of look 3D-ish. And it's like the perfect blend for me. I loved it. Yeah,
it's beautiful. I felt a lot like, it kind of reminded me of some sort of split between Into the Spider-Verse and then the Tangled series that we watched, because it's got that like storybook drawn kind of feel to it. But yeah, they use that like 3D kind of lighting, which makes it so uniquely different. Rochelle brought up to me because we watched it together this morning. She was just like, it's 2D, but 3D. And I was like, yeah, I don't know how else to describe this.
No, she's right. That's what I keep saying. It's like, I couldn't even figure out how to put it into words where it's like, yeah, it's 2D, but it's 3D-ish. It's like 3D, 2D. I don't know.
3D, two-dimensional. I don't know
but
how that works.
It looks so good. And then, to your point about the Tangled series, it does have that kind of texture thrown into it as well. Mm-hmm. Like, I actually watched a little bit of the kind of making of some of the animation cells of this, and you literally see like the hand-drawn lines moving, then the color overlay, then the lighting and shadows thrown in, and then the texture thrown on top of that, which is what gave it kind of that storybook feel, which makes total sense for this movie too, because it is kind of almost a telling of a tale in almost like the origins of what we think of as Santa Claus and Christmas, like origins of the different parts of it in such a way where it's like, oh, this seems almost a reality of sorts. Like I didn't do any like research as to like if any of this was like based on any like former mythologies. Like this could all be original, and it might be based on some original stories that already existed. I'm not certain, but all this stuff seems like a logical way to look at what we think of as Santa Claus.
Yeah, and I really like that about it, and yeah, it's kind of a perfect it's a perfect way to animate this type of story.
Yes, absolutely. And so the fictional town of Smeerensburg was based on Smeerenburg, an actual town that existed in Norway. It used to be a prosperous whaling post during the 17th century. So really the only difference is Smeerensburg has an S in there before the B, and Smeerenburg does not. So it's like it says it's based on it, but it's like it might as well be it because it's it's one letter difference.
Yeah, and just like the actual town, this is a former dilapidated looking whaling town with a big old whale skeleton hanging in the center of town.
Nita Laba, who voiced the Sami girl Margu, did not speak any English. Sergio Pablos traveled all the way to Tromsø, Norway, where she lives, and did her whole recording session through translation and mimicry.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so she didn't even speak English at all. That's an interesting choice that he made to go that direction. And I guess he wanted it to feel as authentic as possible, and it really did.
Wow, what a hipster. No, I'm just kidding. No, but yeah, I loved it. And honestly, she was one of my favorite characters in this whole thing. I know, same for Rochelle, because as soon as we realized that, she didn't speak the same language as all them, and, she was dressed different, like, we were so endeared to this little girl so quickly. And the voice just lended to it.
Yeah, one of her scenes is the first part that made me cry. And it's like, really after that point, I didn't stop crying for the rest of the movie. So we'll get there and we'll talk about it. Lastly, the film was shopped around to various studios, like I was saying earlier, who perceived it as too risky from April 2015 until Netflix acquired the rights to it in November 2017. So this thing was being floated around for 2 years before Netflix grabbed hold of it and they started actually producing it.
And still 2 more years before it even released.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, of course, they had to go into the actual animation and the getting the actors and whatnot for it, but I don't know what it's like to be a studio executive. I'm sure tons of ideas run across you. This seemed like such a cool idea. I don't know why they wouldn't have just grabbed hold of it immediately.
Yeah, I would have grabbed it, but that's maybe why I'm not in the biz.
I'm not a studio exec, yeah.
Yeah. Plus, I just don't have the jawline for it, to be honest. To be a studio
exec?
Yeah.
I just don't want to dress up every day. I'm pretty sure you have to. You have to sleep in dress clothes, and I can't do it.
I think you're right, yeah.
So, do you have any memories of this? Not memories. Did you know about this at all before I brought it up?
So I just briefly saw a poster advertisement for it, and that is all I knew about it. And just based on the name, I had some early guesses at what it was about. One of my guesses was incorrect because I thought it was based on this graphic novel that I read not that long ago, but I had gotten the name mistaken. But if I ever do remember the name of that graphic novel, you guys should read it because it's really good. But I don't remember what it's called, so whatever.
Yeah, it was a little bit the same for me where I didn't really know anything about it until I saw whatever advertisement, or I guess I was on Netflix and I just saw it kind of headlined up there. And my only draw to it, because I don't like to, know too much about things going into them, is like, oh, this animation looks cool. Let me check it out.
You know what? I wasn't wrong. The name of the graphic novel was also Klaus.
Oh, yeah,
But-
yeah. I did see that.
Okay, but definitely not the same Klaus. Not even
Yeah.
close.
I saw one of the trivia things, I think on IMDb or maybe it was Wikipedia, was like, this is in no way based off of the graphic novel Klaus by whichever author it was. I can't
It's
remember.
Grant Morrison, I think.
Grant Morrison, yeah.
But
So not the
it's
same thing.
It's that graphic novel that is really good, though. So if you guys need something to read, especially for the Christmas season, read that because I love it. I love Klaus. It's very good.
Yeah, I've never checked it out, but I will.
Pretty much, it's like Santa Claus and D&D. It's pretty fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Before we do get started, though, spoiler warning for everyone. We're going to spoil things. If you have not watched it, go watch it first, because then you'll be mad at us if you don't. I don't know why I'm singing all of this. It's because it's Christmas time. Go watch Klaus on Netflix, or steal your friend's password to Netflix and watch it. Then come back and listen to this episode. The end. Okay, spoiler warning over.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'm glad you did that because it's worth seeing yourself before you listen to this review if you have any interest in it. And if you don't, check this out and then you will be interested.
Check it out.
Check it out. It starts out with a letter that he has received, or that this post office has received, this training office has received, and they need to take it to Jesper. And while everyone else is out there training on their horses and whatnot, he is laying inside of a covered tent, like with sliced cucumbers over his eyes, like just relaxing and not taking any of this seriously because his father is the postmaster. So he's never really had to work hard a day in his life. And this was his father's attempt to get him into the postal service, but he's taking it for granted and slacking off as usual.
Yeah, just, being a goofy character. It reminds me of like, I don't know, I don't want to peg this, or kind of like sweep it under this specific blanket, but a lot of this feels very Disney to me. Not just in how the story's written, but some of how the characters function. He is kind of that over cocky, spoiled protagonist you might see in some sort of Disney film, like let's go with The Emperor's New Groove. Is a really good way of saying that. So he's got a lot of personal things to overcome. Aside from whatever his main journey or story is going to be. Like, there's a lot of personal growth that still needs to happen for him. So it's a very much that kind of character. But I like that about this movie because I don't know, like this had a charm that's familiar to it in that way, or to me in that way, if that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah, and what's really interesting is he's not the titular character at all, but he plays such an integral role in everything that happens. That he's for the most part the main character in such a way, in that his actions are what really cause what ends up happening.
Exactly. Yeah. And basically he gets called to see his father along with the sergeant or whatever at this postal academy, and they're talking about like he's pretty much failed at everything, but like purposefully, because like you said, he's not taking it seriously. He's taking advantage of his status and situation. He just wants to be pampered like a little spoiled rich boy for the rest of his life, even though he is, a grown man. But he's not taking it seriously at all. And so his father's just like, all right, fine, I'm making you a postman, which shocks everybody, but then sends him and assigns him to Smearensburg, which is like way all the way to the north of the globe or map. And as we talked about before, it's like this just dilapidated, worn down, just gray, snow-covered, freezing cold place where all the people look like they're out of some sort of Lovecraft story. Like everyone's skin's very gray and they've got like, big eyes. They're drawn in that almost Tim Burton-esque kind of style, like jagged ends.
it's very like Charles Adams-y, where
Yes.
it looks like straight out of the Addams Family comic strip or something. Are these characters? Especially some of them are very like even like almost monochromatically black and white, where they look like Wednesday and whatnot. That one or that little girl who is constantly doing a stabbing motion with
carrot.
with the carrot. Yes,
I was about to say, can you guess who my favorite character was out of that town?
every time she comes on screen, it's worth a laugh.
It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to describe that scene because I love that. So it's like when he meets Mogans, who is like this ship captain who is very sarcastic, can't be taken seriously, which is Norm Macdonald's character, and is just steering this guy wrong at every direction. I'm getting him into trouble. But brings him to Smearensburg. He's walking him through the town or whatever. And you see these little kids making a snowman. But this one snowman has just been stabbed with all these carrots. And you see this little creepy girl just staring you right in the face as she's slowly stabbing another carrot into the belly of the snowman. And she pops up every once in a while, like just walking around with that real slow moving carrot. And it's so creepy and funny every time.
Eyes always wide open, never blinking,
staring at you.
always staring at you. Yeah.
I love the creepy carrot girl. That was one of my favorite things about this entire movie.
The characters in general were so diverse in this. And it's like some of them weren't even like necessary to the plot at all, but they were great additions just as side characters.
Yeah, a lot of them didn't even have names or names that were at least mentioned. Even if you go to the IMDb page, a lot of them are just named something like Crumb Child 1 or Ellingbow Girl 2 or 3 and stuff like that. Like they didn't need to really interact with them on that kind of level because they were just as these background characters, they were excellent.
Oh, and all the kids are played by actual children voice actors too.
Yes, they are.
So something to note. So while since he has to open this post office in Smearensburg, his challenge is in a year, he has to have 6,000 posted letters sent through Smearensburg, or he'll get cut off from the family fortune. And so that's his biggest fear, because before he could slack off, he could do whatever because he knew like his dad was always going to come and save him, or be there as a backup, as a safety net. But the fear of losing this safety net is what really gets him in gear in the first place. And he comes to this town where there's this lifelong like family feud between the Ellingbows and the Crumbs.
Yes,
which is basically one side of the town versus the other. There's this ringing bell in the center that when the bell rings, it's like it's wartime and they have to start battling. The battle bell, yeah.
I love that bell. I like how Mogans tricks him into ringing it. He's like, "Oh yeah, go ring that bell. They'll come out with hors d'oeuvres and sing you songs and like greet you."
Yeah, it's your welcoming party. Yeah.
Yeah. And instead, like everyone just bursts out of their houses with weapons and stuff. Like one woman breaks through her own window carrying a bathtub with her husband in it, who's got a weapon. It's the one lady's handing out what was it? The slingshots to all the kids. They're all just fighting each other. This is very much like it's like the Hatfields and the McCoys, but to such a degree that we find out later when we learn more about the history of this town. This has been going on since caveman times, where these two families have been fighting and going at it, because we see like these little like these paintings, these representations of their battle through history. The farthest one going back where it's just cave paintings, and I'm like, dang.
Eventually, like we hear that, or we find out that there have been other postmen who have tried to come and set up a post office to no avail, and I think some of them have even been killed. I think there were like skeletons or something of them. Yeah, and so it's been unsuccessful. And Jesper, being as inexperienced as he is, since he hasn't cared to even learn any of this trade, is up for a huge challenge, and he is just about ready to give up when he actually, because, he's being tortured pretty much daily and, picked on by the kids even. And finally, like, he sees this, like he's got this map of the whole area on one of his walls, and he sees this corner of it that kind of like the wind kind of flickers up, and it shows him this one little house up there. He asks, I think Mogans about it.
It's Mogans, yeah.
And Yeah, and he tells them, he's like, oh yeah, he's a real friendly guy. He loves visitors. Like anything Mogan says, he's just trying to like get him into trouble.
It's always going to be the opposite because he's trying to get you hurt or killed or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is great. I love that about his character. So yeah, like because the town is constantly at war, they don't send letters. I think Mogens even says at one time, the things that they want to say to each other, they say very well as you see someone blast a cannon through somebody's house. So it's like he's got nothing, but this one kid was drawing something and the drawing got caught by the air, blew out his window, landed in the ground. Jesper sees it and the kid's asking, hey, can you hand my drawing back? He's like, no, but I can mail it if you want to give me a penny for postage. Kid doesn't have a penny. Jesper gets chased off by the dad shooting guns and all the scary dogs that he's got. And he had been going from house to house and place to place, just trying to get anyone to write a letter, send some kind of mail so he can start sending stuff and start working on that goal of his, the 6,000. Not working, but yeah, when he sees on that map that there's one more place he hasn't tried, which is the woodsman's cabin, he goes up there, and that's where he encounters a very, very big man. Now, let me ask you, Joseph, do you prefer, like, who's more attractive to you? A jolly old, big tubby Saint Nick, or like this big kind of buff Klaus sort of figure, like, big lumberjack dude? Which one do you prefer?
I like giant lumberjack Klaus.
Okay, I do too. I didn't know that I needed that in my life until now. But yeah, I prefer it for sure.
He is a hulking man. Like he's basically like twice the height of Jesper, just about.
Yeah, he's gigantic and I love it. And he's very quiet, which is nice. Well, this is what I like about it. He starts off very quiet in that very almost kind of scary kind of way because he doesn't really communicate much. It's more with his looks and his silence communicates for him.
And he's always carrying around that axe.
Yes.
A woodsman axe.
But as the thing goes, like, he softens up very quickly towards Jesper. And I like that because I was kind of expecting and that it was going to really take some act of Jesper's to really kind of break through that thing. And then I was surprised when he did soften up pretty quickly after the maybe second or third time that those two ran into each other. But then I remember, I'm like, man, this is Santa Claus. Like he wants to be a nice guy. He is a nice guy. He's just been reclusive all these years, as we find out. So I like that so much about how they developed that character in this movie.
Well, we get to see that soft side of him pretty quickly after he is delivering that. Okay, so Jesper is chased off from Klaus's house originally. But he leaves his little parcel behind with his letters and stuff, or not letters, but with the kid's drawing and stuff in it. And this is something that's recurring. And we'll talk about it a little bit later. But this like wind picks up and blows the drawing towards Klaus as he's walking back to his house. He sees it, and it's a literal picture of this little kid kind of trapped inside his house, almost like a jail cell, looking out of his window. And so that
and looking very
Klaus,
sad.
Looking very sad, yeah. And so that gives Klaus the feeling that, this kid needs help. And so he's got toys laying around, like a lot of them in his house. So he grabs one and kind of, he goes and like chases down Jesper as he gets back to town and asks him like where this house is. And he's still very like, intimidating and still very short for words and just like very direct in telling him what he needs to do in such a way where when Jesper takes him to the house, like he's like, well, I don't know how we're going to get in there. And he kind of like kicks this plank and it launches him into the chimney, which is the start of, the Santa Claus legend of him coming down the chimney. It's like, okay, so this is how they're going to explain that. He delivers the wrapped toy to the little boy. Well, and not directly to him, but like puts it down and just kind of runs off as soon as he can, or is chased off by his dad. They are outside of the window as the dad's looking for them and the dogs are trying to chase him down. And you see Klaus like looking inside the window at this little kid opening the toy and how happy he is. And that's like, oh, so Klaus has a really like tender heart. but he still doesn't want to be seen. So as a little kid like spots him out the window, he just runs off. And that kind of starts this legend of this like bearded man who's delivering these toys.
And I gotta say, like the nothing was spoken in that moment, but the way they animated the look on Klaus's face, it was this very, very subtle movement of like his eyes, his mouth, the way his head is turned as he sees that kid playing with this. It's like a little wooden wind-up frog toy, and it's hopping around. The kid's chasing it and laughing. It's like once he sees that, there's those very subtle changes to his face, and it like you're immediately informed of all of the feelings that Klaus has going through his head right there, just with that subtle animation. So I'm like, man, like they did so well on this. Like I cannot give them enough credit for just a simple small moment like that.
There are a lot of small moments like that, yeah, where it is just kind of silence or characters watching other characters and just watching their expressions and how they're reacting to these moments. A lot of those are probably what brought so many feels to me that hit me so hard, because it kind of plants you where those characters are and allows you to kind of witness this joy happening on the other side.
Yeah. And so soon kicks off something that I really enjoyed, and I'll explain why. So Klaus is just like, oh, I delivered a thing. This counts towards my goal. Cool. I need to get other kids to write letters to bring to Klaus. So then I can also deliver more packages, because that's going to get me out of here quicker. So then he does this thing that I love where he's going around the town and he's like, he's positioned in a way that's really shady. And here's where I want to go with this. So over this past weekend, I was talking with some people, and I don't remember how we got on the subject, but we were talking about the DARE program back in the day. I'm sure you remember that, Joseph.
Yeah.
And people our age would remember it. And it's very much this, for those that don't know, it's this program that, I don't know if it was the Reagan administration or the Bush administration, the first one, started to try to keep kids from doing drugs and stuff like that. And they introduced this thing in all these schools, and it backfired because it got kids more interested in what drugs were. But they make it seem to you that like everybody in the world is just waiting around a corner trying to sell you some drugs. And we were just laughing about how absurd that is. But that is exactly what Jesper does here with the toys. He's like hiding behind pillars, and he's like, hey kids, you want to get some new toys?
Yeah.
I was laughing so hard when that happened, because I'm like, oh my God, we were just talking about this perception of shady people doing that, which like never happens. But I love the juxtaposition of that. It was just perfect.
So on the one hand, we're seeing the softer side of Klaus, but Jesper is still in it to get out of this town. Like,
yes,
even though he's witnessed this, or hasn't even directly witnessed it, but you know, he knows this has been delivered. So he's just looking at, like you said, his ultimate goal of getting out of here. He doesn't care about the rest of it. We run into Alva, I don't remember.
Pretty
I think
quickly,
it might have been directly
honestly.
before that, but she is at this point, she's a school teacher, quote unquote. But right now she's a kind of a fishmonger. So she's just selling these fish. She's the local, I don't know what you even call like people who sell
she butchers
seafood.
Fish and sells
She
them,
butchers fish.
basically. I don't know.
And she's taken that as her side gig since no one cares about learning in this town. And so she's saving up. She's got this, saving this little container full of her earnings so that she can finally get out of this town too.
I love Alva though. She's one of my favorite characters of this whole thing, because she's so just tired and over it and sarcastic. I just love it. So her whole story is she came there wanting to be a teacher, and no one told her that this is a town where no one sends their kids to school because they don't want them to mingle with the kids of the other family. So there are no kids to teach. No one's interested. However, what's really cool and started forming, I mean, Jesper and her met, you know, she's trying to sell him fish and he's not doing it. So she doesn't really like him because of that. But because he's getting more kids are hearing about what happened with that first kid, and he's getting a toy because this letter got received by Klaus or his drunk or whatever. So they're wanting to write letters. Some of them don't know how to write because they're uneducated. So Jesper sends them to Alva, who does not want to teach them at first. And she's like, they've been sitting there for a while and she's still just chopping fish. They're like, are we going to learn anything? So finally she teaches this one girl how to write her name. And Alva's taking it for granted, like, oh, yeah, wow, you learned how to write your name. But this girl is so enchanted by the idea of seeing her name in a written language on a board. And I think that's when it clicks for Alva. And she starts instead using all that money she'd been saving up to get out of there to buy books and pencils and things like that for all of these students. Kind of much like our real life teachers have to do because they don't get enough money. But yeah.
Yeah, and so it's like it's an evolution of many different characters at the same time who have this certain perspective of things and have that switched all by the actions of, well, really the combined actions, but kind of starting with, I think as Jesper says at the beginning of the movie, with one letter. So that single letter is what sets everything else in motion.
I've got a question for you. The mythos of what we think of today as Santa Claus and all the things that he does, it gets like every like part of that mythos gets fleshed out in this, but it's all mostly by happenstance. Like we said before, like Jesper falls down that chimney, which kind of starts that whole thing. So what of all of those different things was your favorite part of the Santa myth that came to fruition? Because one of my favorites was like, there was this one kid that was like really messing with Jesper before, and he was kind of a jerk kid. And then when Jesper realizes that he's in that kid's house, he's just like, oh, you're going to mess with me? I'm not going to, no, you don't get a toy. And he looks around the house and he just finds some coal and sticks the coal in this kid's stocking instead. And that's where that thing came from, is when that kid confronts him later, is like, how come Klaus didn't give me a toy? Like, and he's getting all mad at him. And then Jesper's just like, oh, because Klaus sees everything. You know, he's got a naughty list and you're on the naughty list and you don't want to be on the naughty list. You know, it's like the stuff like that. That was just Jesper, like in the moment, doing something haphazardly or making a stupid split decision that starts like the rumor mill that becomes this myth. And there's a few of those throughout this movie. So I was just wondering which one was the one that you liked the most.
I did like that one a lot because that's what sets all the kids in motion to start doing good. And not that that's the only reason they continue doing it, but it's what really, since they had been trained by their families to constantly be bickering and fighting with the other side, like this is what actually sets the whole town in such a direction that they all start to really get along and become friends, and sometimes like even start relationships together, like the neighbors, which is such a sweet thing to see. Like these people who were just at war with each other are just really like frightening looking people kind of holding hands with each other. It's like a really heartwarming thing. So I liked that, yes. But I think my favorite might have been the mythos of the elves, or what in this case was the Norwegian people from Margou's. I don't know if it was an island or where they were exactly, but just on some kind of like iceberg of some sort.
Yeah, they were more like it was almost like almost like these indigenous people kind of out in this field of ice, like on a frozen lake, and living in huts and things like that.
And these were the Sami people, and so they are these like very brightly dressed, very hardworking people. So Margot, we talked about her a little bit earlier. She's a girl who can't speak any English or doesn't speak the same language as these others. And so Jesper doesn't understand her. So he kind of gets Alva to help to translate for him and finds out what she wants, like what kind of gift she wants. After doing that, like this is where I started crying after they make this gift for her. And it's kind of after Klaus has given up and like doesn't have anything more to give. And he doesn't want to make any more toys because he's done. Like he's met his basically the final request that he had. He finds Jesper kind of trying to make his own, and it's really bad. And, you know, so he kind of feels for him, and so he finishes it up, and then they both go and deliver it to Margou's house, and it's kind of almost like a skate sail board kind of thing, an ice, I don't know, a snowboard sort of thing.
It's basically a sled, but with a sail from like a sailboat on it, so that it catches the wind.
And so it's seeing how happy she is and just seeing her celebrate and seeing them watch from over that hill. Like that's where I started tearing up because it was just such a like intense moment of happiness for her. The rest of the movie kind of goes in that same direction where it's like, okay, like we're really doing good with this and we are really helping people. What the point I was getting at though was the Sami people after that come and start to help them because they are having to try to keep up with the demand of all these kids. They're trying to meet a certain quota for Jesper originally, but now to like have something by Christmas, and they don't know if they're going to be able to do it themselves because they have to build so many toys and whatnot. And so the Sami people come in and help him do that, and they are serving as what we know of as the Santa's elves.
Yeah,
in that they're helping him build these toys, like constructing a new sled for him, a more efficient sled. It's seeing all that put together that I really enjoyed how they kind of made sense of that mythos.
I like that a lot too. The whole story of the Sami people was part of my favorite thing, and that moment that you were talking about that choked you up was the one that got us too. Like I don't know what it was about that scene, but yeah, it sounds like it got all of us that were watching it. Honestly, it was great. One thing that I wanted to mention, and you kind of touched on a little bit, that he said he was kind of done, like he wasn't going to make any more toys. The reason that we find out is because he originally made a whole bunch of toys when he was first married to his love, which I think he said was her name Lydia. Was that it? Or
yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they were expecting children, and the children never came. Guessing just that she couldn't get pregnant, and then he just kept working and making toys in anticipation of starting this big family because he planned to have a big family with all these kids. So he made tons and tons and tons of toys, and then she got sick and she passed away. That kind of broke Klaus, and then the toy making stopped, and he covered his workshop up, and he was just a regular woodsman, except that the only thing he made was he'd make birdhouses and stuff because Lydia loved birds, so he made a lot of those. So his plan was basically just once he ran out of the toys that he made, he was going to be done because it was too painful for him to start making toys again because it reminds him of those children that he never had and stuff. But yeah, when he sees Jesper working so hard to make this thing, even though it looked awful, and I think that was that it was a turning point for both of them. One, that was the turning point where Jesper started caring more about the kids and the idea of the joy and stuff on their faces over him getting out of that town. It's almost like he somewhat forgot why he was doing what he was doing because he just wanted to make this child happy. And then that was the turning point for Klaus too, of seeing, this guy that he's, finally become kind of friends with, and just seeing how hard he's working to like make this happen, and remembering, like I used to have that kind of joy and stuff like that. And I can't let him, down. So that's what gets Klaus to start making the toys again. It's such a great moment. Like there are so many amazing moments. Choking up. Oh God. There's so many amazing moments in this movie that it's just, they're so beautiful.
Let me point out a couple. So you've got the moment where you find out, where you see when he's telling Jesper about the idea he had about family and stuff with Lydia, and he made that kind of tree sort of formation, that carving with he and Lydia at the top of it, and then all those little slots under it for the kids, the mini kids they plan on having. And then, as if the emptiness of that wasn't hard enough, it's watching it be filled with the kind of the Jesper, Alva, and the Sami people. That was like, oh man, like that's his family now, and like that, like I'm choking up thinking, I'm choking
I can hear
talking
it.
about that right now. Yeah, like it's seeing that be filled. They don't even have to say anything about it, and they don't mention it again. They don't talk about it, but they show it every once in a while. And how populated it's becoming. And it's like, oh, this is his family now.
Yeah. And one thing that's cool too is Jesper built him this whole new workshop. Just brought in new tools, all kinds of stuff. Because he's just like, we're doing this thing.
Yeah.
The Sami people get in there, make it even better. And they all basically move into that place. At least like the Sami people, like you don't ever see them leave that place. They're just there to stay. And I love that. I think that's great. Now what sucks is like the two leaders of the clans. Well, this is kind of funny. They decided to make peace with each other to end the peace because all of the other people of this town are like, they're all over it. Like, the kids were being nice. The kids doing their thing inspired the adults. The adults are being nice. So the two sides are at peace with each other. They're enjoying each other's company. They're playing music together. They're, falling in love with each other and all kinds of stuff. It all comes from this quote that Klaus says at one time, which is the one good deed becomes many good deeds. Like, I don't remember that kind of sentiment. And that's absolutely happening to this whole town. The two clan leaders don't like that. So they call a peace treaty so they can end the peace. And they both go after both Jesper and Klaus in different ways, but they find out why Jesper's doing what he's doing, that he's doing it to, once he fills this quota, he's out of there. And so they do this weird thing where they try to defeat Jesper by helping Jesper by mailing all of these letters and stuff. So Jesper's dad comes and is like, wow, you did a great job. You turned this town around and everything, right in front of Jesper's, new friends, Klaus, his Alva, who he's, they're kind of falling in love and stuff like that. And they all kind of find out, oh, he was just doing this thing to get out of there. And they all felt really used. It's that point in a movie that I always dread, especially in a film like this or a film, that feels very Disney. There's always that point that the main character hits where something they did in the past comes back to haunt them. And it sinks your stomach a little bit each time. And I knew it was going to happen. I saw it coming and I did not want it to happen because I just wanted to be all happy. But it happened. Yeah. And everyone got mad at him.
It was inevitable, yes. But this was another one of those moments where it kind of like made my eyes well up a bit because it's like, yeah, now he's being forced out. No one wants him to stay anymore. Like his dad's taking him home and his dad seems like all gung ho about it. Like, all right, you've done it. Like, great. Let's talk about your future in the postal service, whatever. And so he's so disappointed, obviously, because originally, yes, it was a very selfish deed of his, but it turned into something more when he started to kind of open his heart up to it. And after that, we see him like kind of sailing off and Margot kind of running up and like calling out his name and wanting him to come back and crying.
She's crying. Ugh.
Yeah. It turns out he's still back there on the dock and he's like, well, I guess I missed my boat. And then he's talking about how like he told his dad about it. He explained everything. And what was a nice surprise was he said his dad said that he had never been more proud of him.
Yeah.
And that was like a really sweet moment.
Yeah, it really was. The second part of the clan leader's plan was to destroy all the toys that Klaus and the Sami people had made. And it kind of culminates with this big, climax of Jesper returning and trying to save the toys and everything, but the toys inevitably get destroyed, or so you think. Klaus and actually, I guess it's really Alva is just like, kids talk. We knew that they're what their parents were, or what these people were planning. So they made decoys. They had a big sack and sleigh full of just wood logs. And they actually kept all the toys safe. And with Jesper back, like they accepted him back and they delivered everything on Christmas as they planned. And that wasn't the end of it. They were like, next year we're going to hit more of the world and, expand and stuff. We have to hit all these other cities. And I just love how everything kind of transpired from that part out. And I was wondering how they were going to do this. I was wondering how this all was going to end. And it surprised me because I'm like, they aren't portraying Klaus as like a magical figure. Like there's not like, at least maybe it's hinted at a tiny bit, but magic isn't a part of this world. And they hit on that as like over the years, he gets older and older and finally, that one day that wind that you talked about earlier kind of blows back on him. And it's like, he knows that this is his time. Like he's going to die and he's ready to see his wife again. And he kind of wanders into the woods and just disappears. How I expected it to happen or unfold was that Jesper has been this apprentice the whole time. And he was honestly the catalyst for it all to happen in the first place. So I expected Jesper to kind of, pick up the axe and go where Klaus left off, and that the myth would continue that way, is that someone just kept taking up the mantle. But what happened instead was so much better than what I thought was going to happen.
And I really like the way that Jesper explained it too, as he's kind of narrating the ending of it. It's showing him, and he and Alva have children now after so many years together and doing all of this together. And then yes, after Klaus passes away, like he said he used to go back to his house like yearly, and they would always meet up. And now it's like he eventually like wasn't there anymore, but he said like once a year, and I really like the way he put it. He's like, once a year, like I get to see my friend. You're hearing sleigh bells in the background, and it's kind of like he's there in spirit, or I guess in spirit form in some way, like his wife Lydia had been throughout the movie. And you kind of, she's almost like a secondary character too, or like a driving force behind a lot of this, because this wind that you see that's like causing all these things to happen by chance is an embodiment of her. And it's happening from almost a start where when this drawing is first blown over to Jesper, like that's that same wind. When it's blown over to Klaus, that's that same wind. Like when the map, like the corner of the map is blown down, like that's her also, or that's this wind also. So it's like all these events transpired because she almost like set it up to happen this way. Like
she's guiding Jesper and Klaus together because she knew that together they would do something amazing. And like even there's that one really interesting moment. And I wasn't sure where it was going to go at first because I didn't know, her story yet or that she even existed. But when Klaus and Jesper first, they meet for the second time in the daylight instead of at night. And Jesper's kind of telling him his plan. This wind picks up and it's kind of swirling around Jesper and making him this to Klaus, he's realizing this is a very important figure and I can't ignore this. This is a message from Lydia that whoever this man is, this is someone I need to pay attention to and I need to give him a chance. And so, yeah, she honestly guided them together and set them on this path because she knew that they needed each other.
And really that this town needed them too.
Yeah, the town needed them. And I love that in Klaus's death, he basically becomes that magical figure that we think of today. So I think that's really awesome. It's like what they did, what him and Jesper did together transcended like the mortal coil, if you will, and it became a magic of its own. And it continued without there being a physical person to do the work. And I think that's cool.
Yeah, because it was kind of making the Santa Claus mythos out to be a very logical, something based on the foundation of logic. And then they take it in this direction where it's a very spiritual ending to it, but it still works in that it still works with the movie, the way that they've set things in motion. So I just thought, I like you, I thought it was just a perfect way to wrap it up.
Yeah.
And I want to mention a couple things before the end. So when the Ellingboes and the Crumb family are trying to like sabotage everything and destroy these toys, this is also where their like eldest son and daughter like unite. And I just thought those were really funny characters. Like the daughter especially, because she's just, the only word she says is mine. And it's like just in different tones throughout the movie. And I just thought she was a really funny character. And so at the end of that part where, they're trying to destroy the toys and they are essentially like Jesper and Klaus are riding on this like sled full of the fake ones. Jesper doesn't know this. And so it's in the moment that he is willing to just about sacrifice his own life to save these toys for these children that the others kind of turn their opinion of him around, because they're still really upset at him at this point after what he's pulled on them, or after what, they perceived of him being selfish before. But after seeing what he was willing to do, what he was willing to go through to save these toys for the children, even though they were fake toys, like he had no way of knowing, but he was willing to do it anyway. That's when they're like, okay, like he really has changed. Like he really does have a good heart. And so they kind of brought him back into the fold after that. And so I just thought that was worth mentioning because it was a moment of just near sacrifice just for the kids and for their happiness.
And during that same scene as that's happening, so like you were talking about the one eldest daughter and then the son from the other clan, the girl, I think it was the girl, falls over the edge of the cliff that they're like chasing Jesper and Klaus down. And I mean, doesn't hang on. She just falls over it. But the boy these two are both gargantuan for being children. They're huge and,
Yeah.
big dumb brutes, grabs her hand and pulls her up. And that's when she's like, mine? Despite these are the direct kids of the two clan leaders on either side. They see her holding him, carrying him around and stuff. And they're like, no, you got to separate them. She's like, mine. And they end up getting married. And I love that. It's awesome because it's just like a representation of like, that's what's going to solidify that this infighting is officially done and over with in that scene where he grabs her and pulls her over and she realizes that she loves him. As I say, that's just it's the culmination of all of those things that the clans have tried to do to keep each other apart, 100% failing. And it's like that was the nail in the coffin that really ends the feuds.
Well, Chris, looks like it's about time we send our inner kids to Smearensburg to help Jesper deal toys to kids in dark alleys, then see what they thought of the movie Klaus.
This was the first cartoon that made me not want to be on the naughty list. It looked really cool and the story was really fun, and as much as Smearensburg started out as a place I'd love to live in, I actually prefer the nice version at the end. So I gave this movie 5 bowls of slow-moving carrot knife cereal out of 5.
I never really expected to see another Christmas movie that would affect me the same way as the animated or stop-motion classics did, but Klaus proved me wrong. From the beautiful stylized 2D animation to the unique take on the origins of Santa Claus, this film succeeded on all fronts. It even had me laughing as much as it had me crying. Truly, I think this is a wonderful step in the right direction for a resurgence of timeless quality holiday cartoons for the whole family. Overall, I'd give the movie Klaus 5 big bowls of mine cereal out of 5 and could not recommend this movie more.
We still need to get a real good, smooth Thanksgiving movie, As much as I feel like Thanksgiving's a dumb holiday because it's stuck in between Christmas and Halloween and Day of the Dead, which I would prefer over Thanksgiving, we've got some good movies for all of the other ones. But we don't have a great Thanksgiving. I mean, you got a few classics. The first Thanksgiving that we watched a year or so ago, you've got the Charlie Brown Thanksgiving. That will do eventually, but we need a good one. We need a nice, polished Thanksgiving film. But it would be awesome to see more movies like this from Netflix because this was just a beautifully animated film. Absolutely the best Christmas movie I've seen in a very long time. I'm honestly not usually someone that gets into Christmas movies that much. I like Elf, but I'm one of those people that would rather argue and watch Die Hard or The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Or Gremlins.
Yeah, like Gremlins, yes. I would... Krampus. Krampus is one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like all the Christmas movies that people are like, oh, that's not a Christmas movie. But this is one that really touched me. And I really liked it a lot. And I definitely want to watch it again next year. And I would recommend this for any kid, any adult. If you've got a family, this is one to sit down with your whole family and watch because you're going to have a great time watching it.
Yeah, that's why I think it's going to be timeless too, because it's in a weird, it's not in any specific set year, but there's no technology really applied to it. So it's like, okay, this can be any time and it can carry on throughout without being dated. So it's going to be one of those Rudolph, like Frosty, like Year Without a Santa Claus. To me, it's one of those you can put right in the same playlist as those as just a classic animated Christmas film. It's one of those where I can, like you said, enjoy it annually.
Exactly. And I'm looking forward to showing this to other people. Like the next time I get together with friends, I have to be like, hey, well, hang on. Let me say it like I would usually talk. Yo, crew, did you watch that fire Netflix flick? I'm really cool. Is that? I'm trying to be cool, guys. I don't know how to be cool anymore. I'm getting old.
Yeah, that's classic Chris. Exactly how you talk.
That's exactly how I sound. But yeah, I do want to introduce this to people and make sure that they see it because it's definitely one of those that I'm like, man, I could really feel passionate about this movie. And I think this is one that people need to see, especially if we want to get more movies like this. We need to get more eyes on it. So definitely, like, if you guys liked the movie and want more stuff like it, like me and Joseph do, like, tell people about this, talk about it with your friends on social media, whatever, make sure people are watching this film, because that's going to be the way to get more.
I can definitely vouch for the lasting appeal of it, because I've watched it twice now within the span of maybe like a 2-week period, and it made me cry just as much both times, if not more the second time, which is really impressive.
Dang. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, because even though I knew what was coming, it still hit me just as hard. And that's what is just a sign of a great buildup.
What's it like to just cry at everything? I mean,
It's rough, man. It's
just
rough.
kidding.
It's definitely something the whole family can enjoy. It's got its really funny, like, slapstick moments, as much as it has its really intense feelings.
Yes, like I said, it feels like a classic Disney kind of film. Like, it's just one of those happy and funny and silly and heartwarming stories that make me remember some of the older Disney films from when I was a kid. Like, it made me feel that way, and a lot of movies don't do that. So I'm very excited that this is something that exists now and is viewable for eyes and listenable for ears.
Yes, all the senses. It's very Pixar-esque in that way. Yep.
And before we go, I've got a 5-star review to read for y'all. Oh God, I've been talking to you too much. A 5-star review from Apple Podcasts. We're now at 101 ratings, which is super awesome. Still
Cool.
Maintaining our 4.8 out of 5, making us the highest rated cartoon podcast out there. So there's that. I'm going to hold on to that as long as I can. This 5-star review is from Laguna 1219, and it is titled "You Can Taste the Nostalgia." I had to put some little emphasis there. It just sounded fun.
I hope it tastes good.
Yeah, I hope so too. My daughters and I have been working our way through the episodes, and I can honestly say there isn't a stinker in the lot. Joseph and Chris are really engaging, and the cartoons they choose run the gamut from oldies that take me back to my Saturday mornings growing up to newer shows and movies my 9-year-old watches. The best part? Joseph and Chris can convince my girls to watch things I've been trying to get them into for years. I also love that this is something we can listen to together without worrying about little ears. The highest recommendation of all? When both girls, 18 and 9, ask me to play this in the car or sit down together to watch a show before we listen to the review. A podcast that we all agree on? Outstanding.
Wow.
Jeez.
Am I going to cry again? Am I going to cry?
I mean, you will. Yeah, you're going to. Because I am right now having just done that. That hurt. Like, it hurt in a real good way. That was a good hurt.
Because we talk about that sometimes. Like, that's exactly what we want from the show, is not only to encourage people to watch these cartoons that they might otherwise leave behind, or something that we might not have watched had it not been suggested to us, but that surprises us. And that's what a lot of this is these nice surprises. So I'm so glad that they're able to share this together. And I think we actually mentioned this same family on either last episode or the episode before, because we got such a nice note from them.
Yes, we did. I think it was over Twitter. We got a very nice message from, I think, the same person that wrote this. And just know that your family really, really touched us. That's what we love to hear. Like, that's the reason that we keep doing this. And yeah, it makes us really happy to hear that we have that effect on people, because like we get that effect from other podcasts and YouTubers and things like that we consume. So the idea that we can, create something that makes people feel a certain way that we've felt before from others is just awesome. That's like the ultimate goal. So thank you very much for sharing that. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate it. And I'm glad that we're able to share the artistry that these animators and these story writers make. And we've enjoyed ourselves. I'm glad that you can enjoy them with us.
Heck yeah.
Well, listeners, looks like our milk supply is now run dry, so it's time for us to say goodbye. And in 2 weeks, we'll be watching
Level E, suggested via Twitter by @Toshin This was a bottom of the list, just so you know, because we've been doing some really nice episodes lately, So I want to scrape the bottom of that barrel and see what's stuck down there. And we've got this anime called Level E that I've never heard of, but I'm excited to watch. Toshin Rama, someone that typically picks cartoons that we have a lot of regrets over. So we'll see how this one goes. I'm excited to find out.
All right, Level E. Yep, I've never heard of it either, so I don't know what to expect yet. I'll come in with open arms.
I'm going to come in with folded arms. I just want to protect myself a little bit.
I'll come in with one arm folded, one arm out, ready for an embrace, but also ready to just like fold the other arm in just in case.
Okay, yeah.
I'm half and half.
Yeah, I can do that. I subscribe to what you're selling there.
Once again, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris.
And we'll see you next Saturday.
Presented by NerdSloth.
A place for lazy nerds.
If you like what you heard, consider donating at patreon.com/nerdsloth so we can continue bringing you quality shows. Be sure to also leave us a review and share your favorite episodes and clips on social media. If you're looking for more content, visit us at nerdsloth.com.